But when I explained to my principal that I couldn't in good conscience pronounce masculine pronouns to refer to a girl, he gave me an official written reprimand and said it was the first step in a process that would lead to my termination. The ultimatum said that in order for me to be allowed back in the classroom, that I would have to proactively use male pronouns to designate this student.
I had Mr. Vlaming as a student in his French class for 3 years. I think what I liked about having Mr. Vlaming as a teacher was I felt like he was there, like he really wanted me to learn French. And if I ever had a problem with French or not, he would always be there for me.
He was my French teacher for 5 years, all through high school. Actually from 8th grade, all through high school. It was really fun. We never had a dull moment in the class. We used to call people over in France that he knew because he lived over there, and we'd have to make up questions we wanted to ask, and we'd do that like once a month at least. He was really funny, and he was the same to every student.
It would have been the end of the school year 2018. A student of mine, 14-year-old girl, I had had her in class the previous year, so this was the end of her second year with me. Gave me a handwritten letter where she explained that she was transgender, that she had adopted a new masculine name, and that she wanted to adopt a new masculine name in French class. She asked me what I thought, and I said, "We'll be fine. We'll work on a new name for French class." I didn't have a problem with using her new name, and that's what I used in class.
The transgender issue is fairly significant in Virginia because we had a transgender student in one of our school divisions that sued the school for the issue of being denied the opportunity to use the restroom of their choice. And that has gone all the way to the Supreme Court and has had some significant impact on schools since then.
I wasn't using feminine pronouns to refer to her because I didn't want to provoke her. I understood her point of view and respected the fact that she could choose to think what she wants to think. It's not my place as a teacher to pronounce any position I might have on the subject, but I couldn't in good conscience designate her via third-person pronouns as a boy. Now this needs a little bit of explanation. Third-person personal pronouns, I can say this as a language teacher, they're never used to address someone directly. Okay, I don't say, "Hi Rachel, how is she going today?" I say, "Hi Rachel, how are you doing?" I use the second-person pronoun. When she said this, when she came to see me and said, "I heard that you've referred to me as a girl outside of class," my response was, "Well, let's stop there, let's get some things straight. First of all, I like you, and I like who you are and the things that make you who you are. I'm glad you're in French class, and we're not supposed to say this, but you're one of my favorite students. I find you charming, I find you witty, I like your sense of humor, and you happen to be really good at French. And second of all, your adoption of this new identity, it's a big transition. It's a big transition, so extend me a little bit of grace." We left that meeting and she was satisfied. And as she told her mother as much. Her mother confirmed that she was satisfied with our meeting. And the very next day I went to my assistant principal and I explained in detail the conversation I had with the student, and I also explained my position, which was I respect this student's right to adopt this new identity. I respect the right of her family to believe the same, but I can only follow them so far. I cannot in good conscience refer to a girl as a boy. I was told that not only would I proactively use male pronouns for this student in her presence, but that I would use male pronouns to refer to her no matter who was present, even if it was just another colleague behind closed doors or in a break room. I was given an official reprimand for not using the appropriate pronouns, and I was told that this was the first step in a series of steps that would lead to my termination. So the morning of October 31st, that day we had class, and because it was Halloween, we had a special kind of Halloween lesson about the catacombs of Paris. We have a set of virtual reality goggles at West Point because I found a website where you could do a virtual tour with the virtual reality goggles of the catacombs. You could kind of walk through the catacombs. We went out in the hallway just outside my classroom, give them some more room, and one student wore the virtual reality headset. The other student would guide them so that they wouldn't run into things. As I'm supervising, I noticed that the transgender student, her partner's not paying attention, and she's about to run into a wall. And so as a reflex, I shouted out, "Don't let her hit the wall." And I remember at that very moment, I've actually put my hand in my mouth. I was like, shoot. You know, I've been trying to avoid female pronouns, but it's bound to happen. It was in good faith. I was trying to keep her from running into something. Regardless, by the end of the day, I get summoned to the principal's office, and I was put on administrative leave. After that week, I had to go back to see the superintendent, who had prepared an ultimatum. The ultimatum said that in order for me to be allowed back in the classroom, that I would have to proactively use male pronouns to designate the students. And that, you know, in any instance, if they suspected that I was using the name instead of he or him or his, that it would be grounds for my termination. I couldn't sign the ultimatum in good conscience, and the superintendent therefore recommended to the school board that I be fired. There was a long hearing in front of the school board, and after a 4-hour hearing, the school board voted for my termination.
I saw that Mr. Vlaming was fired on social media first. My reaction when I saw that Mr. Vlaming was fired was probably a combination of like shock and kind of disgust.
I was very shocked when I found out he was fired. I didn't really know what to do. I emailed him because our assistant principal never told us. She just said, "This is our new temporary sub for French," and she didn't say anything else.
He called me and we had some conversation when it first came about, before the school division took specific action on it. I just said I was very sorry that he was finding himself in the situation that he was in, and I think that at the time I was very anxious to see and listen for how things would turn out, because again, sometimes these things tend to blossom and balloon and have impact on statewide or even nationwide, and sure enough, that seems to be what's going on.
His case is, at its core, is really about the right of free speech, the right of any teacher not to be compelled to violate their convictions in order to keep their job. One of the interesting cases the United States Supreme Court has heard on a similar issue. In a school years ago, during World War II, there were Jehovah's Witnesses who objected to saying the Pledge of Allegiance or saluting the flag. And you can imagine during World War II that that was upsetting to many people. And the Supreme Court said that nobody can be forced by a government official, high or petty, to be compelled to speak a message that violates their convictions. And that's exactly what the school board is trying to do to Peter in this case. Nobody should be forced to do that just to keep their job.
Not only did he lose his job, but I think the whole thing has put other people in a position where they're scared that they will lose their job if they don't toe the line of current popular culture, progressive culture.
My friend's little sister had said something in the comments of my Instagram post about how there needed to be a walkout. So she started talking to her friends, and then I talked to mine, and I got other people, and everyone talked to their friends. Forest Road was a lot involved in that, and it just happened. We all just set a time for lunch and went. The teachers were very like, if you want to walk out, you can. They were like supportive of it, I feel like. The school did their best. They had like teachers out, and I felt like they moderated it well. It was a lot bigger than I expected. I'd say the walkout was, I don't know, more than half the school. It was a lot of kids.
Je m'appelle Peter Vlaming et je suis ici pour promouvoir la liberté d'expression et la liberté de conscience.